I'm gonna tell you something that almost nobody says out loud, even though it should be pretty obvious. College admissions is not just about your GPA. Obviously, it's super important, but things like the SAT score is not just that. And it's definitely not just how many AP honors or whatever classes you've taken to stack on your schedule. And obviously, like I said, it does play a significant role, but just on its own, it's most likely not enough for your application. What people don't talk about, which they should, is this. Behind every acceptance letter, especially from top schools, there's this invisible checklist. And the craziest part is that most students don't even know it's there. It's made up of the subtle stuff, right? The things that don't get listed in a rubric, but completely change how an admissions officer sees your application. And I'm talking about your academic signal, the story your transcript tells about your work ethic and curiosity. And I'm talking about your tone of voice, how your essays make them feel about the kind of person you are. And I'm also talking about these other things like initiative, leadership, direction, basically whether it feels like you're actually going somewhere or if you're just kind of drifting through high school, doing, whatever's expected of you and just doing it well. All of that matters way more than people might think. So I'm just gonna slow down for a second and really unpack this. So first up is academic signal. When we say academic signal, we're not just talking about the number next to your GPA or your SAT score, right? Of course, that stuff really matters, but really the bigger picture, I want you to zoom out for a second. The way your transcript feels when someone reads it from start to finish is also important to look at. Does it look like you challenge yourself not just once in a while, but again and again and again over a long period of time? Did you step into harder classes even when they made you nervous or weren't guaranteed A's? Or did you stay in your comfort zone picking easier options just to keep your GPAs looking clean? And as the years went on, did your coursework show growth? Were you curious enough to stretch into new subjects or higher levels? Or did those things just kind of stay static or even take a dip? Admissions don't just glance at your grades and call it a day. They look at your transcript like it's a story about how much you care about learning, a story about whether, most importantly, you're someone who pushes yourself when no one is watching, a story about whether you're willing to take academic risks because you're actually hungry to learn more and challenge yourself. Next up is tone of voice. Now, this is something that doesn't usually get the spotlight, but in my opinion, it most definitely should. This piece is super subtle, carries a ton of weight. When an admissions officer reads your personal statement or your supplemental essays, they're not just looking at what words you're putting on there. They're paying close attention to how you're saying it. So ask yourself this: when someone reads your essay, do you sound like a student who's just trying to impress the adult on the other side of the page? Like, is that all you're doing? Or do you sound like someone who has something real and specific to share? Another question is, does your writing sound like you're actually having a conversation with them? Or does it read like you swallowed a thesaurus and are trying way too freaking hard to come off as smart or a genius or mature? Your tone needs to signal something whether you mean it or not, because it gives a glimpse into who you are as a person. Are you reflective? Are you a curious person? Are you someone with a childlike curiosity? Who knows? Or in a worst case scenario, does it just sound like you're someone who's just checking off boxes? Even super small things like how you explain your activities can shift how someone feels about your whole entire application. And your voice matters way more than you might think. And the best part is that it shows up literally everywhere throughout your entire application. Your personal statement, your short responses, even in the way you describe your extracurricular activities. So think about how important this is. So keep it in mind. Now, let's talk about initiative. This word gets thrown around a lot, but it doesn't mean you have to go out and launch some world-changing nonprofit. But what it actually means is, can you begin something out of your own will? Can you take an idea and bring it to life on your own terms? And you gotta understand, admissions officers actually pay attention to this kind of energy, right? They're looking for students who, don't sit around waiting to be told what to do. These people want to admit students who take their own initiative and create their own momentum, even when there isn't a clear path laid out in front of them. Now, if you're a parent or student watching this and you want my team and I to look over your current situation and create you a plan for the next 90 days on top of a 3-year game plan and all these different things that you would need in your current moment in time, then join our Inspirate Launchpad program with the first link in the description. It's a 7-day program where we have a quick little intake call and I ask you all the questions I need answers to. And then for the next 7 days, my team and I are gonna work on your own specific game plan so that you know exactly what to do moving forward to make sure that you make the most amount of progress throughout that time. And so if you're interested in that, go click the first link in the description. It's $297 by the time you're watching this. And every time 20 new students join our program, we're just gonna keep increasing it just to award students who are actually on their feet and proactive about their situation. So if you're interested in that, click the first link in the description. If not, no worries at all. Let's continue on with this video. And lastly, but of course, leadership. Let's be real for a second. This isn't about those like, cookie cutter stuff and, titles that sound good, but you don't really do anything, right? You know what I'm talking about? Like being vice president of a club that means once a month, barely does anything, and then mostly, just sits around chatting with each other. And that's not leadership. Anyone can do that. And admissions officers, they've seen enough of these things to spot that stuff instantly. So what really stands out to them is leadership that's active and hands-on and built on real responsibility. We're talking about students who actually do the work, like organizing a campus-wide event from the ground up, because that means you juggle logistics, rally your team, solve problems that pop up out of nowhere, and make sure everything comes together at the very end. Or maybe it looks like mentoring younger students, not because anyone made you to, but because you remember being in their shoes. You know how overwhelming it felt starting out, and you want to be that same person who you would have wanted to actually work with and get help from. Or maybe your leadership shows up in the moments literally no one sees coming. The times you step up when things go sideways, or when you take the lead because no one else just wants to, because that happens a lot. Leadership is not just a title. It's a stack of skills, and you can show these things beyond just the title that you have, especially in your extracurricular descriptions or your essays. Because that's what real leadership looks like. It's not loud or showy, and to be real and authentic is why it sticks with admissions officers. And I want to wrap all this up with the final thing, which is direction. This is the part where you just want to step back real quick and look at your entire application from a bird's eye view, from the top down, okay? Not just the grades or the clubs or your letter of recommendations, but how it all kind of just fits together. Think about what an admissions officer sees when they flip through your file. Are they going to get the vibe that you're just checking boxes because you think that's what, you're supposed to do? Or do they feel like you've actually got a sense of where you're headed in the future? Even if you're still figuring things out, does it seem like there's purpose behind the choices you've made? And obviously it'd be ideal if you have everything perfectly mapped out, but it doesn't have to be that way. Even these colleges don't expect a 17-year-old to know their exact career path or to have a 5-step plan to get there. But what does stand out is momentum. Maybe in your earlier years, you tried a bunch of different things, right? And that's fine. But now, can you show that you're starting to narrow it? Because it's not about saying, I know exactly what I want to be. Because if you do know, awesome, right? But it's more like saying, here's the kind of work that excites me, or these are the type of problems that I want to help solve in the future. Because at the end of the day, you want someone reading your application to feel something click. You want them to pause, lean back a bit, and just think overall, okay, I see this thread, I see this trajectory for the student, right? I see where this kid is trying to go. And honestly, I want to be a part of that story. I want this university to help him get there. We've gone over a lot today, so let's just pull it all together. If you're trying to stand out in this insanely competitive admissions process, the truth is it's not just about your GPA, your test scores, or how many AP classes you've crammed into your schedule. Yes, obviously those things matter, but they're not what makes you memorable. Now, if you want to see what this all looks like in action, go check out my other video called You Only Need One Good Extracurricular Activity right here. It ties right into this conversation, right? In that video, I'm just breaking down just a really quick, one meaningful activity for you, done with depth and intention, which helps you kind of light every signal we've talked about here. And obviously, if you want support from my team and I for the next 7 days and just give you a game plan from step 0 to 100, you could join our Inspirate Launchpad program with the first link in the description. But hopefully this video was helpful for you. If it was, please let me know, and I look forward to you guys in the next video. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.